Our next guest is an author and a career coach. Her book, Career Confinement, How to Free Yourself and Your Guides and Seize the Fire of Inspired Work. It's quite the title. Available now, Elizabeth Pearson is joining us. Good to see you. We just figured out that we've never actually met in person.
Right.
I've known you for a few years now, though.
Yeah.
Everything has been on Zoom and online.
It was like COVID-proof, right? So it's been from afar. So it's a treat to be in studio today.
It's so crazy to me because I felt like I had known you.
Right, totally.
It's deceiving.
Right.
So we're glad to have you in. Welcome to our studio. So we're talking about pay gaps for professional women and kind of like the roots of the issue. What did you discover?
Well, I think it all kind of came to resurface with the Caitlin Clark. You know, her initial offer from Indiana to join the WNBA, it was just so glaringly low compared to men's salaries. So it was this wonderful opportunity to bring up this debate again. Not really a debate, but a discussion of like, what is this wage gap and how do we close it? And I think at the root of it is, I work with a lot of women who are afraid to really lean in and advocate for themselves and say, hey, this is what I deserve. And here are some data points to support why I deserve this money. So I'm excited to chat with you guys and get your thoughts on it as well.
Well, the whole Caitlin Clark issue, it is very controversial, to say the least, but WNBA is very different from the NBA in terms of how long the league has been around and all the kinds of endorsements and salary it brings in as well. But a larger issue in corporate life, right? We struggle with it as women all the time. How women make at least $1, or, you know, 60 cents per $1 every man makes?
Well, it depends on all these other factors too. If you're a minority, if you're LGBTQ, like there's all of these other things that just knock your salary down lower and lower and widen the gap. So one thing that I tell clients is negotiate everything. A lot of times a boss or HR will come back and they'll say, we only have a certain budget for this role and my hands are tied, there's nothing I can do. But there's all sorts of non-salary items that you can negotiate. You can negotiate more days working from home. You can negotiate maybe an assistant that would help ease some of the burden on you, more headcount underneath you, more PTO. So there's a whole additional bucket that you can negotiate that won't come from that budget. So HR doesn't really have a fighting chance when you start asking for the other things.
Why do you think women are uncomfortable when it comes to talking about money and asking for those raises?
I think it's because we've been conditioned not to do it. I mean, I really think as we grow, it's about being likable, being nurturing, and in a way, asking for money feels like you're kind of having this point of confrontation, but it really isn't a confrontation, and it isn't something we should shy away from, because I think the more you lean in and we start having these conversations, we give women around us permission to do the same. And I think we need to talk about it. You know, women on the team should say, hey, just so you know, I just negotiated a raise. And maybe you don't feel comfortable sharing specifics, but I think it's great to at least let it be known that it's an option for them to do as well.
Yeah, I think it depends on your profession, but you talked about the non-monetary gains that you can ask for from your company. Maybe it's that they'll send you to that professional conference, you know, that will last a weekend, and they'll pay for that, whether it helps your career or not, but at least you're networking and added benefits like that. But you know what? I don't see a lot of men having to ask for those things. They just ask for the straight up money, and they get it.
And they ask for the job maybe before they've checked all the requirement boxes. That's another thing that trip women up. They say, well, I don't check all the boxes, so I can't really ask for the top of the salary band. I should just try to be kind of in the middle. But I always say, well, if they're giving you a promotion, it's not because you're mediocre. It's because you're a very strong link in the chain, so you should be at the top of it. I think another really good thing to do is make sure that you're getting paid for the job you're doing currently. A lot of times bosses will come back and they'll say, well, we'll do a trial run. Go ahead and do this VP role for 6 months, and then we'll come back and we'll assess, and then we'll adjust your salary. And I always really urge women to consider pushing back on that and saying, well, if I'm doing the job, then the pay should be reflective of that job right now. It shouldn't be this 6-month wait and see period.
Because they're getting free work from you.
They are, and it makes it so much harder. People say 6 months, and then calendars get busy, and then all of a sudden it's a year, and you've been doing a job that you really aren't getting paid for. Right. There's still a huge gap there. So I say always make sure that you're getting paid for the job you're doing right now.
Okay, don't forget, her book, Career Confinement, is available now. You're going to stick around, and join us?
Please,
okay,
great.
Sounds good. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back. So, Elizabeth Elizabeth Pearson joining us right now. We're talking about wage gap wars for women, and she's been sharing some ways you can, increase your visibility, how you fight to get paid for what you think you deserve for the work that you do, and so some other points we hadn't touched on yet.
Well, it was really great you brought up when we were talking about be more visible. So this is one of the tips, and you said, how do you do that if you're working remotely? And there are a couple of ways, but first, I want to address, if you do have an opportunity to go into a headquarter office, and maybe they say you can come in 2 days a week or something, I say go in. Like right now, there is a heavy emphasis on people being visible. So walk the floor is what we say. So be visible, be on those calls, be in those meetings. I just had a client the other day. She said, I don't want to drive into San Francisco 2 days in a row. And I said, you got to do it. Like these are big, huge meetings where your CEO is, you need to be there. If you're working remotely, I say, raise your hand to lead calls. There's usually going to be a weekly team call or some sort of call where it's more than just you and your boss. And you can proactively reach out to your boss and say, hey, I'd like to lead this call. Here's the agenda I've put forth. Be sure to let me know what you want to talk about. So what boss isn't going to let you take some work off his plate or her plate, right? So do that. I also say it's really good to be active on LinkedIn. Tag some of your coworkers, the company that you work for, talk about improvements that are being made, talk about projects you're doing. And I think as women, we can kind of like lean back from that as well. Like, oh, I'm part of a team. I don't want to be like ringing the bell that it's me. No, ladies, ring the bell. Like you're doing stuff, post on it on LinkedIn because it looks good to your company too, not just you.
You know, like the saying, out of sight, out of mind. Sometimes people look at that in a positive way. They're thinking like, oh, like, I'm just going to hang back, do my thing and like not get attention. But in this case, I feel as though it works against you.
Well, you're not going to get the money. The thing is the more visible you can be, the more you really position yourself as a subject matter expert. And the more you're an expert, the more they're going to pay you. So it's really not benefiting anybody, especially the women around you, to really kind of cower back or not lean in and take a proactive leadership approach. So you don't wait for the opportunities to come. You have to really reach out and grab them.
You make your opportunities, and it sounds like in all of this, you have to be prepared, like go after for what you want.
And that leads into another really great point. When you're going to talk about a raise or salary, you have to come with some data points. It can't just be, my kid's in private school and I need this. Like, it can't be any kind of emotional place. It has to just be the job that you're doing and how you're excelling and you're exceeding expectations. So you really need to come and have those outlined. And I think it's always good to kind of put people to task and say, if we can't get to this place in the next 6 months, then I'll have to reevaluate if I want to stay here. Like, I think women also really shy away from making those kind of claims, but on the inside, we're calling our girlfriends. We're like, if they don't give me what I want, I'm out. So let your boss know that, so they're not blindsided and have the opportunity to pay you to keep you.
Building your brand, like your identity. I think also women were wearing so many hats. Like you're the mom, you're the wife, you're also the professional. You're juggling so many things, and at the end of the day, the company, they're trying to benefit from the work that you're doing. Like, sure, you can have understanding bosses who are like, yes, I understand you need the time off to go to your kids' play or whatever, right? But at the end of the day, like, they want you to perform because that's the bottom line. And so you can't always be asking for those things that kind of weaken you when it comes to negotiating.
100%. Like, I hate to say it, but there's still extreme biases out there. So, I mean, for the first, couple years of my career, I really didn't talk about wanting to have kids or getting married or anything because I knew it was going to affect what I was given as far as opportunities. Things are different now, but I also say, like, we can't lead negotiations with that. And when you're building your brand, it needs to be focused around the work you're producing. So have your private Instagram with your adorable babies on there that the grandparents can see, and then start a professional public Instagram where you can talk about the people you're interviewing, the conferences you're going to, the great work that you're doing, what your company's initiatives are. And then that is a curated feed that other recruiters and hiring managers will see, and they get a glimpse into who you are as a person without all of that personal, I don't want to call it baggage, but this other stuff, you know what I mean?
Baggage, but I don't want to call it that either. But you have to kind of compartmentalize, right? You compartmentalize your life.
You really do. And I don't know, hopefully someday we'll get to a place where everybody can be 100% authentic and transparent.
Probably not.
But probably not.
Probably not.
Right now, ladies, we're trying to get you paid. And so, like, really focus on the professional lane that you're in and how you're excelling.
Right.
Well, it's really interesting because you say come to the table with facts, straight data points, the job you're doing. But a lot of times employers may see you as a working mom, and the times you do have to go to a school play and then use your personal side against you.
Yeah.
Instead of them just dealing with the facts.
Don't be afraid to walk away. I tell ladies this all the time. Sometimes people will take a snapshot of who you were when they first hired you or whatever, and that's kind of like what they revert to every time they're negotiating with you or talking with you. Sometimes you might need to walk away from that opportunity so that you can have a fresh start and there is a new snapshot of who you are. You're a professional, Emmy-winning, anchor, right? Like instead of somebody who started maybe, in the field. So don't be afraid to leave. That's when the big pay jumps are made, honestly, is when you leave. And I say start evaluating from year 2 to year 7 and see if maybe there's something else that could be better suited.
Well, people change, opportunities change, life changes, right? So
100%.
you just have to have like that strong foundation to get going. So pick up a copy of Elizabeth's book, Career. What is your ideal Mother's Day? Mother's Day is coming up. It looks like 45% of you want to go out to brunch or dinner. Yeah, 45% of you. Elizabeth, how do you feel about this?
As long as I'm not the one schlepping kids or coordinating it, I kind of look at those women with pity who are out with all their family members, and I'm like, girl, I just want to go to like South Coast. I don't know. I want to go somewhere by myself, or I want to do like a sound bath or like.
That's your ideal Mother's Day.
It is. Okay. I know it's like kind of taboo to say you don't want to be with your kids on Mother's Day.
No, you have every right.
But I love on them the day before and the day after. That day I want to myself.
Thank you. I love the honesty.
35% said they want alone time. All right, congratulations are in order for the El Camino Real Charter School in Woodland Hills after they won the National Academic Decathlon yet again.
Wow.
ECR are back-to-back champions, and it's their 10th national championship, more than any other school in the United States. The Royals dominated the competition in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, beating their nearest rival by 3,700 points. The team earned an incredible 46 medals, with 6 team members ranking in the top 9 highest scorers in the entire competition.
Congratulations.
Wow.
Pretty amazing.
Smart.
Smarty pants. Yeah, they are. They are. Do you have a small business and you want to see it grow? Check out Glendale's 2nd Annual Business Summit.
We're partnering with the Small Business Administration. Our Economic Development Department has created a fantastic program that includes things like business planning, marketing strategies, how to obtain capital for your small business, procurement and contracting opportunities with the city and other entities, minority-owned, women-owned, business certification, and so much more.
All right, so there will be a ton of networking opportunities. This is this Thursday, May 2nd, Embassy Suites in Glendale, 1:30 to 7:30. You can register today. Go to chooseglendaleca.com. Good luck. All right, so we have time for one topic here, Elizabeth, I think. If you're a working parent, you know the struggle, right? You've got that guilt always on your mind when it comes to the time you should be spending with your kids. And the time you're spending with them, how much of a quality time is it? So there's this theory out here. This might help you. A mom on TikTok is going viral for explaining what's called this 9-minute theory. She talks about how, well, it's interesting this is 9 minutes, by the way, because before they used to say 10 minutes, so they knocked off a minute. So I find that to be fascinating. So basically, the gist of it is, it's not about the quantity of time you're spending with your kids, it's the quality. And sometimes I can spend the entire day with my kids, but at the end of it, when I look back, I'm like, what did I do in that entire day? Right. Versus the 9 focused minutes, I guess, in this case. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's going to be hard for women to embrace that because we like to beat ourselves up if it's not like I took them to Disneyland all day and we did all of this stuff. But 9 minutes, I think if you can be 100% focused on your child, they're just going to soak that up like a little sponge, and that probably would be enough. And I think that there are going to be a lot of people out there that want to say that that's not enough and you should be doing all of this other stuff. But no, I agree. I think like focus time, whether it's 9 minutes
or
plus,
10,
give them the extra. But like looking in their eyes,
like no
and really
phone,
listening to
no
them.
distractions.
Right. And I think this theory even goes even further. It gives us a lot of grace because they actually break it down to 3-minute chunks. So 3 minutes when they wake up, 3 minutes when they come home from school, and 3 minutes before bed. That's all we have to do. It sounds pretty easy, right?
In my mind, I'm like, wait, is that really, truly enough? Like 3 minutes?
it could be something you could test. I always tell them, like, try it out. Like, maybe when you're spending time with your child, try to acknowledge, like, am I really present, or are my thoughts on what's going on tonight or tomorrow?
That's the hardest thing.
And I think really listening to them.
Right. Maybe it's more about calming the monkey mind of moms, which are all of these different things we need to do, and just really focusing, looking in their eyes, listening to them. And I bet it really, that point of connection, I think kids know when you're 100% aligned with them or you're distracted.
I want people to give you a follow also. You have a lot going on. Tell them where they can find you. You're always bringing up interesting topics on social media.
Oh my God, you're so sweet. At coach.elizabeth.pearson. Thanks, Roxy.
And are you still doing that podcast?
I am, The Working Mom's Guide to Sanity. And we have your episodes still up. We talked about how to, like, let the residue of negativity after you hear certain news stories not come home with you, and how do you really compartmentalize specifically your guys' work with being able to come home and be present with your children and not get into an anxious state.
That's really important. And taking a look at your book again, Career Confinement, break out of being confined, right?
Yes.
You got the tips for us.
We're tigresses. We need to get out of the cage and make more money.
Yes, that's for
Ask
sure.
for that raise.
Yes, do it.
I'm the most awkward person when it comes to money in general. Sandra knows.
We could talk.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for the long drive you took to get here.
Happy to.
And Sherry starts next. Thanks for being with us. We'll see you tomorrow.
Enjoy your time off.
Oh yeah, I'll be back Monday. I'll be back Monday.
Yeah.
I'm going away. I'm not telling you where. Out of office.
Yeah.
I'm gonna post it.